The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark by William Shakespeare. Dramatis Personae Claudius, King of Denmark. Marcellus, officer. Hamlet, son to the former and nephew to the present king. Polonius, Lord Chamberlain. Horatio, friend to Hamlet. Laertes, son to Polonius. Voltimand, courtier. Cornelius, courtier. Rosencrantz, courtier. Guildenstern, courtier. Osric, courtier. A gentleman, courtier. A priest. Marcellus, officer. Bernardo, officer. Francisco, a soldier. Reynaldo, servant to Polonius. Players. 2 clowns, gravediggers. Fortinbras, Prince of Norway. A Norwegian captain. English ambassadors. Gertrude, Queen of Denmark, mother to Hamlet. Ophelia, daughter to Polonius. Ghost of Hamlet's father. Lords, ladies, officers, soldiers, sailors, messengers, attendants. Scene Elsinore. Scene Elsinore. A platform before the castle. Enter 2 sentinels, first Francisco, who paces up and down at his post, then Bernardo, who approaches him. Bear. Who's there? Fran. Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Bear. Long live the king. Fran. Bernardo. Bear. He. Fran. You come most carefully upon your hour. Bear. 'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. Fran. For this relief much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Bear. Have you had quiet guard? Fran. Not a mouse stirring. Bear. Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. Enter Horatio and Marcellus. Fran. I think I hear them. Stand ho. Who is there? Hor. Friends to this ground. Ma. And liegemen to the Dane. Fran. Give you good night. Ma. Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you? Fran. Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night. Exit. Ma. Holla, Bernardo. Bear. Say what, is Horatio there? Hor. A piece of him. Bear. Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus. Ma. What, has this thing appeared again tonight? Bear. I have seen nothing. Ma. Horatio says 'tis but a fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight, twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that, if again this apparition come, he may approve, arise, and speak to it. Hor. Tush, tush, 'twill not appear. Bear. Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears, that are so fortified against a story, what we 2 nights have seen. Hor. Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Bear. Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one enter ghost. Ma. Peace. Break thee off. Look where it comes again. Bear. In the same figure, like the king that's dead. Ma. Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio. Bear. Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio. Hor. Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder. Bear. It would be spoke to. Ma. Question it, Horatio. Hor. What art thou that usurp street this time of night together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven I charge thee speak. Ma. It is offended. Bear. See, it stalks away. Hor. Stay. Speak, speak. I charge thee speak. Exit ghost. Ma. 'Tis gone and will not answer. Bear. How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on't? Hor. Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes. Ma. Is it not like the king? Hor. As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armour he had on when he th' ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once when, in an angry parle, he smote the sledded Polacs on the ice. 'Tis strange. Ma. Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour, with martial stalk hath he gone by a watch. Hor. In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to a state. Ma. Good now, sit down, and tell me he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war. Why such impressive shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward, that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint labourer with the day? Who is that can inform me? Haw. That can I at least, the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, died to the combat, in which a valiant Hamlet. For so this side of a known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who, by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit, with his life, all those his lands which he stood seized of, to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by a king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been vanquisher, as, by the same comet and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway, here and there, sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet, to some enterprise that hath a stomach in't, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us, by strong hand and terms compulsatory, those foresaid lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of a preparations. The source of this a watch, and the chief head of this post haste and romage in the land. Bear. I think it be no other but e'en so. Well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through a watch, so like the king that was and is the question of these wars. Haw. A mode it is to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire, and dews of blood. Disasters in the sun, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick, almost to doomsday with eclipse. And even the like precursor of fierce events, as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto acclimature and countrymen. Enter ghost again. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me, stay illusion. Spreads his arms. If thou hast any sound, or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease, and, race to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast uphoarded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which, they say, you spirits oft walk in death, the cock crows. Speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus. Ma. Shall I strike at it with my partisan? Haw. Do, if it will not stand. Bear. 'Tis here. Haw. 'Tis here. Ma. 'Tis gone. Exit ghost. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and a vain blows malicious mockery. Bear. It was about to speak, when the cock crew. Haw. And then it started, like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein this present object made probation. Ma. It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever, 'gainst that season comes wherein a Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then, they say, no spirit dare stir abroad, the nights are wholesome, then no planets strike. No fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and so gracious is the time. Haw. So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks with the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen to-night unto young Hamlet. For, upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting a duty? Let's do't, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently. Exeunt. Scene 2. Elsinore. A room of state in the castle. Flourish, enter Claudius, king of Denmark, Gertrude the queen, Hamlet, Polonius, Letz, and his sister Ophelia, Voltimand, Cornelius lord's attendant. King. Though yet of Hamlet a dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and a whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature that we with wisest sorrow think on him together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore a sometime sister, now a queen, hath imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious, and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral, and with dirge in marriage. In equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along. For all, a thanks. Now follows, that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of a worth, or thinking by a late dear brother's death, a state to be disjoint, and out of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage. He hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bands of law, to a most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourself, and for this time of meeting. Thus much the business is, we have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose to suppress his further gate herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king. More than the scope of these dilated articles allow, gives a paper, farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. Call Volt. In that, and all things, will we show a duty. King. We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. Exeunt Voltimand and Cornelius. And now, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is't, let's? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, that shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, La. My dread lord, your leave and favour to return to France, from whence though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation, yet now I must confess, that duty done. My thoughts and wishes bend again toward France and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon. King. Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius? Paul. He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you give him leave to go. King. Take thy fair hour, Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son Ham, aside, a little more than kin, and less than kind. King. How is it that the clouds still hang on you? Ham. Not so, my lord. I am too much i'th son. Queen. Good Hamlet, cast thy knighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lid seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou no street 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Ham. Madam, it is common. Queen. If it be, why seems it so particular with thee? Ham. Seems, madam, nay, it is. I know not seems, 'tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forked breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show these but the trappings and the suits of woe. King. 'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father, that father lost his. And the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persevere in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief, it shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be, and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we in a peevish opposition take it to heart? Fie. 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first course till he that died to-day. This must be so. We pray you throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note you are the most immediate to a throne. And with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to a desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, a chiefest courtier, cousin, and a son. Queen. Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee stay with us, go not to Wittenberg. Ham. I shall in all my best obey you, madam. King. Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as yourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforked accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart, in grace whereof, no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the king's rouse the heaven shall brood again. Respeaking earthly thunder. Come away. Flourish. Exeunt all but Hamlet. Ham. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon 'gainst self-slaughter. O God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fiont. Ah, fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this. But 2 months dead. Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the wines of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth. Must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet, within a month let me not think on't. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears why she, even she. O God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. O most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Enter Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo. Hor. Hail to your lordship. Ham. I am glad to see you well. Horatio. Or I do forget myself. Hor. The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever. Ham. Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus? Ma. My good lord. Ham. I am very glad to see you. To Bernardo, good even, sir, but what, in faith, make you from Wittenberg? Hor. A truant disposition, good my lord. Ham. I would not hear your enemies say so, nor shall you do my ear that violence to make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart. Hor. My lord, I came to see your father's funeral. Ham. I prithee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding. Hor. Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon. Ham. Thrift, Horatio. The funeral-backed meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father, methinks I see my father. Hor. Oh, where, my lord? Ham. In my mind's eye, Horatio. Hor. I saw him once. He was a goodly king. Ham. He was a man, take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again. Hor. My lord, I think I saw him yesternight. Ham. Saw? Who? Hor. My lord, the king your father. Ham. The king my father? Hor. Seizing your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen, this marvel to you. Ham. For God's love let me hear. Hor. 2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead vast and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pie, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like. Ham. But where was this? Ma. My lord, upon the platform where we watched. Ham. Did you not speak to it? Hor. My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Act 2. Scene Elsinore. A room in the house of Polonius. Enter Polonius and Rinaldo. Paul. Give him this money and these notes, Rinaldo. Ray. I will, my lord. Paul. You shall do Mavels wisely, good Ronaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behaviour. Ray. My lord, I did intend it. Paul. Marry, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how, and who, what means, and where they keep, what company, at what expense. And finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son. Come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take you, as 'twere, some distant knowledge of him. As thus, I know his father and his friends, and impart him. Do you mark this, Reynaldo? Ray. Very well, my lord. Paul. And impart him, but you may say, not well. But if be he, I mean, he's very wild addicted so, and there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rank as may dishonour him take heed of that, but sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as a companion's noted and most known to youth and liberty. Ray. As gaming, my lord. Paul. Or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarrelling, drabbing. You may go so far. Ray. My lord, that would dishonour him. Paul. Faith no, as you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him, that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning. But breathe his faults so quaintly, that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood, of general assault. Ray. But my good Lord Paul, wherefore should you do this? Ray. My lord, I would know that. Paul. Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of warrant. You laying these slight sullies on my son as 'twere a thing a little soil doth working, mark you, your party in converse, him you would sound, having ever seen in the prenominate crimes the youth you breathe of guilty. Be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman according to the phrase or the addition of man and country. Ray. Very good, my lord. Paul. And then, sir, does it this? It does. What was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave? Ray. It closes in the consequence a friend or so, and gentleman. Paul. It closes in the consequence marry. He closes thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or t'other day, or then, with such or such, and, as you say, there was a gaming, there are Wertukins rouse. They're falling out at tennis, or perchance, I saw him enter such a house of sale. Videlicet, a brothel, or so forth. See you now your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So, by my former lecture and advice, shall you, my son. You have me, have you not, Ray? My lord, I have. Paul. God be with ye, fare ye well. Ray. Good my lord, going Paul. Observe his inclination in yourself. Ray. I shall, my lord. Paul. And let him ply his music. Ray. Well, my lord. Paul. Farewell. Exit Ronaldo. Enter Ophelia. How now, Ophelia? What's the matter? Off. Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted. Paul. With what? I'th name of God I off. My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbracked, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, unguarded, and down jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me. Paul. Mad for thy love? Off. My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. Paul. What said he? Off. He took me by the wrist and held me hard, then goes he to the length of all his arm, and, with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out o' doors he went without their help, and to the last bended their light on me. Paul. Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late? Off. No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me. Paul. That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee, but beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come. Exeunt. Scene 2. Elsinore. A room in the castle. Flourish, enter king and queen, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, come alias. King. Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke a hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation? So I call it, sith north exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was what it should be, more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from thunderstanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both that, being of so young clays brought up with him, and since so neighboured to his youth and haviour, that you vouchsafe your rest here in a court some little time. So by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus that, opened, lies within a remedy. Queen. Good gentleman, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am 2 men there are not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of a hope, your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance. Ross. Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty. Gil. But we both obey, and here give up ourselves, in the full bent, to lay a service freely at your feet, to be commanded. King. Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern. Queen. Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz. And I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son, go, some of you, and bring these gentlemen where Hamlet is. Gil. Heavens make a presence and a practice is pleasant and helpful to him. Queen. Amen. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, with some attendants. Enter Polonius. Paul. The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned. King. Thou still hast been the father of good news. Paul. Have I, my lord? I assure you, my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath us to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. King. Oh, speak of that. That do I long to hear. Paul. Give first admittance to th' ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast. King. Thyself do grace to them, and bring them in. Exit Polonius. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he hath found the head and source of all your son's distemper. Queen. I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death, and our hasty marriage. King. Well, we shall sift him. Enter Polonius, Voltimand, and Cornelius. Welcome, my good friends. Say, Voltimand, what from a brother Norway? Volt. Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon a first, he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polack, but better looked into, he truly found it was against your highness, whereat grieved. That so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out arrests on Fortinbras, which he, in brief, obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and, in fine, makes vow before his uncle never more to give the say of arms against your majesty. Whereon old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 3,000 crowns in annual fee, and his commission to employ those soldiers, so levied as before, against the Polack, with an entreaty, herein further shown. Gives a paper, that it might please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on such regards of safety and allowances therein are set down. King. It likes us well, and at a more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime we thank you for your well took labour. Go to your rest, at night we'll feast together. Most welcome home. Exeunt ambassadors. Paul. This business is well ended. My liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, why day is day, night is night, and time is time. Were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it. For, to define true madness, what is but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go. Queen. More matter, with less art. Paul. Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he is mad, 'tis true. 'Tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true. A foolish figure. But farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad let us grant him then. And now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say, the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend. I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience, mark, hath given me this. Now gather, and surmise reads the letter. To the celestial, and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia, that's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase. But you shall hear. Thus, reads in her excellent white bosom, these, and see, Queen. Came this from Hamlet to her. Paul. Good madam, stay a while. I will be faithful reads doubt thou the stars of fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. O dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, O most best, believe it. Adieu. Thine evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him. Hamlet this, in obedience, hath my daughter shown me, and more above, hath his solicitings. As they fell out by time, by means and place, all given to mine ear. King. But how hath she received his love? Paul. What do you think of me? King. As of a man faithful and honourable. Paul. I would fain prove so. But what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it? I must tell you that, before my daughter told me. What might you, or my dear majesty your queen here, think? If I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking, mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight, what might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This must not be, and then I prescripts gave her, that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens. Which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulsed, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and, by this declension, into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for. King. Do you think 'tis this? Queen, it may be, very like. Paul. Hath there been such a time I would fain know that I have positively said 'tis so, when it proved otherwise. King. Not that I know. Paul points to his head and shoulder, take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the centre. King. How may we try it further? Paul. You know sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby. Queen. So he does indeed. Paul. At such a time I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then. Mark the encounter. If he love her not, and he not from his reason found thereon, let me be no assistant for estate, but keep a farm and carters. King. We will try it. Enter Hamlet, reading on a book. Queen. But look where sadly the poor wretch comes reading. Paul. Away, I do beseech you, both away I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. Exeunt King and Queen, with attendants. How does my good Lord Hamlet? Ham. Well, God a mercy. Paul. Do you know me, my lord? Ham. Excellent well. You are a fishmonger. Paul. Not I, my lord. Ham. Then I would you were so honest a man. Paul. Honest, my lord? Ham. Sir, to be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000. Paul. That's very true, my lord. Ham. For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a god-kissing carrion, have you a daughter? Paul. I have, my lord. Ham. Let her not walk i'th son. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to T. Paul, aside, how say you by that? Still harping on my daughter. Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love very near this. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord? Ham. Words, words, words. Paul. What is the matter, my lord? Ham. Between who? Paul. I mean the matter that you read, my lord. Ham. Slanders, sir, for the satirical rogue says here that old men have grey bards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams. All which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, Yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down, for you yourself, sir, should be old as I am if, like a crab, you could go backward. Paul, aside though this be madness, yet there is a method in't. Will you walk out of the air, my lord? Ham. Into my grave? Paul. Indeed, that is out there. Aside, how pregnant sometimes his replies are. A happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter, my honourable lord. I will most humbly take my leave of you. Ham. You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all except my life, except my life, except my life, and to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Paul. Fare you well, my lord. Ham. These tedious old fools. Paul. You go to seek the Lord Hamlet. There he is. Ross, to Polonius, God save you, sir. Exit, Polonius. Gil. My honoured lord. Ross. My most dear lord. Ham. My excellent good friends. How dost thou, Guildenstern? Rosencrantz. Good lads, how do ye both? Ross. As the indifferent children of the earth. Gil. Happy in that we are not over happy. On fortune's cap we are not the very button. Ham. Nor the soles of her shoe. Ross. Neither, my lord. Ham. Then you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favours? Gil. Faith, her privates we. Ham. In the secret parts of fortune? Oh, most true. She is a strumpet. What news? Ross. None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest. Ham. Then is doomsday near. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison hither? Gil. Prison, my lord? Ham. Denmark's a prison. Ross. Then is the world one. Ham. A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one oath worst. Ross. We think not so, my lord. Ham. Why, then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me it is a prison. Ross. Why, then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind. Ham. O God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Gil. Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream. Ham. A dream itself is but a shadow. Ross. Truly, and I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow. Ham. Then are beggars' bodies, and are monarchs and outstretched heroes, the beggars' shadows. Shall we doth court? For by my fay I cannot reason. Both. Will wait upon you. Ham. No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants, for, to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore? Ross. To visit you, my lord, no other occasion. Ham. Beggar that I am even poor in thanks, but I thank you, and sure, dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? ACT 3. Scene Elsinore. A room in the castle. Enter King, Queen, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and lords. King. And can you by no drift of circumstance get from him why he puts on this confusion, grading so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy? Ross. He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak. Gil. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof when we would bring him onto some confession of his true state. Queen. Did he receive you well? Ross. Most like a gentleman. Gil. But with much forcing of his disposition. Ross. Negative question, but of a demands most free in his reply. Queen. Did you assay him to any pastime? Ross. Madam, it so fell out that certain players we o'erwrought on the way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They hear about the court, and, as I think, they have already ordered this night to play before him. Paul. 'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter. King. With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge and drive his purpose on to these delights. Ross. We shall, my lord. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. King. Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may here affront Ophelia. Her father and myself lawful espiles will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge and gather by him as he is behaved, if 't be th' affliction of his love, or no, that thus he suffers for. Queen. I shall obey you, and for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honours. Off. Madam, I wish it may. Exit Queen, Paul. Ophelia, walk ye here, gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves, to Ophelia, read on this book, that show of such an exercise may colour your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this, 'tis too much proved. That with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself. King, aside, oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it, than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burthen! Paul. I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord. Exeunt King and Polonius. Enter Hamlet. Ham. To be, or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache, and 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die to sleep. To sleep perchance to dream. There's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the press's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despot love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of thenworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now. The fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered. Off. Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day? Ham. I humbly thank you. Well. Off. My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you, now receive them. Ham. No, not I. I never gave you aught. Off. My honoured lord, you know right well you did, and with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Ham. Ha. Are you honest? Off. My lord? Ham. Are you fair? Off. What means your lordship? Ham. That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Off. Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty? Ham. Truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Off. Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so. Ham. You should not have believed me, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not. Off. I was the more deceived. Ham. Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are arrant knaves all, believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father? Off. At home, my lord. Ham. Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in's own house. Farewell. Off. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens. Ham. If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Go, farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly too. Farewell. Off. O heavenly powers, restore him. Ham. I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no more on't. It hath made me mad. I say, we will have no more marriages. Those that are married already all but one shall live, the rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery, go. Exit. Off. Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, scholars, soldiers, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mould of form, observed of all observers quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, have seen what I have seen, see what I see. Enter King and Polonius. King. Love? His affections do not that way tend. Nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul o' which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of a neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on't? Paul. It shall do well. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all, my lord, do as you please. But if you hold it fit, after the play let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placked so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. King. It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go. Exeunt. Scene 2. Elsinore Hall in the castle. Enter Hamlet and 3 of the players. Ham. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly, on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of the players do, I had as live the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand, thus, but use all gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and, as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious periwig pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the cars of the groundlings, who, for the most part, are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for a wording termagant. It out Herod's Herod. Pray you avoid it. Player. I warrant your honour. Ham. Be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action, with this special observance, that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature. For anything so overdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end, both at the first and now, was and is, to hold as twere the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time his form and pressure. Now this overdone or come tardy off, though it make the unskilful laugh, cannot but make the judicious grieve, the censure of the which one must in your allowance weigh a whole theatre of others. Oh, there be players that I have seen play, and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak it profanely, that, neither having the accent of Christians, nor the gait of Christian, pagan, nor man, have so strutted and bellowed, that I have thought some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well, they imitated humanity so abominably. Player. I hope we have reformed that indifferently with us, sir. Ham. Oh, reform it altogether. And let those that play your clowns speak no more than is set down for them. For there be of them that will themselves laugh, to set on some quantity of barren spectators to laugh too, though in the meantime some necessary question of the play be then to be considered. That's villainous, and shows a most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go make you ready. Exeunt players. Enter Polonius, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern. How now, my lord? Will the king hear this piece of work? Paul. And the queen too, and that presently. Ham. Bid the players make haste, exit Polonius. Will you two help to hasten them? Both. We will, my lord. Exeunt they too. Ham. What? Oh, Horatio. Enter Horatio. Hor. Here, sweet lord, at your service. Ham. Horatio, thou art e'en as just a man as e'er my conversation copped withal. Hor. Oh, my dear lord. Ham. Nay, do not think I flatter, for what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee where thrift may follow fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice and could of men distinguish, her election hath schooled thee for herself. For thou hast been as one, in suffering all, that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards hast ta'en with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this there is a play to-night before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul observe my uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, for I mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both the judgments join in censure of his seeming. Hor. Well, my lord, if he steal aught the whilst this play is playing, and 'scape detecting, I will pay the theft. Sound a flourish, enter trumpets and kettle drums. Danish march, enter king, queen, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and other lords attendant, with the guard carrying torches. Ham. They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place. King. How fares a cousin Hamlet? Ham. Excellent, I' faith, of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air, promise crammed. You cannot feed capons so. King. I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine. Ham. No, nor mine now. To Polonius, my lord. You played once at university, you say? Paul. That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor. Ham. What did you enact? Paul. I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed i'th capital, Brutus killed me. Ham. It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready. Ross. My lord. They stay upon your patience. Queen. Come hither, my dear Hamlet, sit by me. Ham. No, good mother? Here's metal more attractive. Paul, to the king. Oh, ho, do you mark that? Ham. Lady, shall I lie in your lap, sits down at Ophelia's feet, off. No, my lord. Ham. I mean, my head upon your lap? Off. My lord. Ham. Do you think I meant country matters? Off. I think nothing, my lord. Ham. That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs. Off. What is, my lord? Ham. Nothing. Off. You are merry, my lord. Ham. Who, I? Off. My lord. Ham. Oh God, you're only jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look you how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within 2 hours. Off. Nay, 'tis twice 2 months, my lord. Ham. So long? Nay then, let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Oh heavens, die 2 months ago, and not forgotten yet. Then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year. But by lady, he must build churches then, or else shall he suffer not thinking on with the hobby horse, whose epitaph is for the hobby horse is forgot, boys play. The dumb show enters. Enter a king and a queen very lovingly, the queen embracing him, and he her. She kneels, and makes show of protestation unto him. He takes her up, and declines his head upon her neck. He lays him down upon a bank of flowers. She, seeing him asleep, leaves him. Anon comes in a fellow, takes off his crown, kisses it, pours poison in the sleeper's ears, and leaves him. The queen returns, finds the king dead, and makes passionate action. The poisoner with some 3 or 4 mutes comes in again, seem to condole with her. The dead body is carried away. The poisoner woos the queen with gifts. She seems harsh and unwilling a while, but in the end accepts his love. Exeunt. Off. What means this, my lord? Ham. Marry, this is mitching malhecho, it means mischief. Off. Belike this show imports the argument of the play. Enter prologue. Ham. We shall know by this fellow. The players cannot keep counsel, they'll tell all. Off. Will he tell us what this show meant? Ham. Or any show that you'll show him. Be not you asm to show, he'll not shame to tell you what it means. Off. You are naught. I'll mark the play. Pro. For us, and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently. Exit, Am. Is this a prologue, or the posy of a ring? Off. 'Tis brief, my lord. Ham. As woman's love. Enter, 2 players as king and queen. King. Full 30 times hath Phoebus' cart gone round Neptune's salt wash and Tellus orbed ground, and 30 dozed moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 1230s been, since love are hearts. And Hymen did her hands unite commutual in most sacred bands. Queen. So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count o'er ere love be done. But woe is me. You are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state, that I distrust you. Yet, though I discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must, for women's fear and love holds quantity in neither aught or in extremity. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is seized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fears grow great, great love grows there. King. Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too, my operant powers their functions leave to do. And thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honoured, beloved, and haply one as kind for husband shalt thou queen. Oh, confound the rest. Such love must needs be treason in my breast. When second husband let me be accursed. None wed the second but who killed the first. Ham, aside, wormwood, queen. The instances that second marriage move a base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead when second husband kisses me in bed. King. I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. Purpose is but the slave to memory of violent birth, but poor validity, which now, like fruit unripe, sticks on the tree, but feel unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis that we forget to pay ourselves what to ourselves is debt. What to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending, doth the purpose lose. The violence of either grief or joy their own enactures with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief doth most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves, on slender accident. This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange that even our love should with a fortune's change. For 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune, or else fortune love. The great man down, you mark his favourite flies, the poor advanced makes friends of enemies, and hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend, and who in want a hollow friend doth try, directly seasons him his enemy. But orderly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run that our devices still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. Queen. Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light, sport and repose lock from me day and night, to desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer in prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy meet what I would have, well, and it destroy, both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if, once a widow, ever I be wife. Ham. If she should break it now. King. 'Tis deeply sworn. Sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep. Queen. Sleep rock thy brain, he sleeps, and never come mischance between us twain. Exit. Ham. Madam, how like you this play? Queen. ACTRV. Scene Elsinore. A room in the castle. Enter King and Queen, with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. King. There's matter in these sighs. These profound heaves you must translate, 'tis fit we understand them. Where is your son? Queen. Bestow this place on us a little while, exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Ah, mine own lord, what have I seen to-night? King. What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet? Queen. Mad as the sea and wind, when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit behind the arras hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries a rat, and in this brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man. King. O heavy deed! It had been so with us, had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man. But so much was a love we would not understand what was most fit, but like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone, Queen? To draw apart the body he hath killed, on whom his very madness, like some more among a mineral of metals base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done, King. O Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence, and this vile deed we must with all our majesty and skill both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern? Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Friends both, go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you haste in this. Exeunt, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done, so haply slander, whose whisper o'er the world's diameter, as level as the cannon to his blank, transports his poisoned shot may miss a name and hit the woundless air. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay. Exeunt. Scene 2. Elsinore. A passage in the castle. Enter Hamlet. Ham. Safely stowed. Gentlemen within Hamlet. Lord Hamlet. Ham. But soft. What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come. Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Ross. What have you done, my lord, with the dead body? Ham. Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin. Ross. Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel. Ham. Do not believe it. Ross. Believe what? Ham. That I can keep your counsel, and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king? Ross. Take you me for a sponge, my lord? Ham. Sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them, like an ape, in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed, to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and, sponge, you shall be dry again. Ross. I understand you not, my lord. Ham. I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear. Ross. My lord, you must tell us where the body is and go with us to the king. Ham. The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing gill. A thing, my lord? Ham. Of nothing. Bring me to him. Hide fox, and all after. Exeunt. Scene 3. Elsinore. A room in the castle. Enter king. King. I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment, but their eyes, and where 'tis so, the fender's scourge is weighed, but never the offence. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. Enter Rosencrantz. How now, oh, what hath befallen? Ross. Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him. King. But where is he? Ross. Without, my lord, guarded, to know your pleasure. King. Bring him before us. Ross. Ho, Guildenstern. Bring in my lord. Enter Hamlet and Guildenstern, with attendants. King. Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius? Ham. At supper. King. At supper? Where? Ham. Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service 2 dishes, but to 1 table. That's the end. King. Alas, alas, Ham. A man may fish with the worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of the fish that hath fed of that worm. King. What dost thou mean by this? Ham. Nothing but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar. King. Where is Polonius? Ham. In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him I thother place yourself. But indeed, if you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stair into the lobby. King. Go seek him there, to attendance, Ham. He will stay till you come, exeunt attendance King. Hamlet, this deed, for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready, and the wind at help, th' associates tend, and everything is bent for England. Ham. For England? King. Hamlet. Ham. Good, King. So is it, if thou knew street a purposes. Ham. I see a cherub that sees them. But come, for England. Farewell, dear mother. King. Thy loving father, Hamlet. Ham. My mother. Father and mother is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh, and so my mother. Come, for England. Exit, King. Follow him at foot, tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not, I'll have him hence tonight. Away, for everything is sealed and done that else leans on the fair. Pray you make haste. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and England, if my love thou hold streeted aught, as my great power thereof may give thee sense, since yet thy cicatrice looks raw and red after the Danish sword, and thy free or pays homage to us, thou mayst not coldly set a sovereign process, which imports at full, by letters congruing to that effect, the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages, and thou must cure me. Till I know 'tis done, how my haps, my joys were near begun. Exit, Scene IV. Near Elsinore. Enter Fortinbras with his army over the stage. 4. Go, captain, from me greet the Danish king. Tell him that by his license Fortinbras craves the conveyance of a promised march over his kingdom. You know the rendezvous? If that his majesty would aught with us, we shall express a duty in his eye, and let him know so. Captain, I will do't, my lord. 4. Go softly on. Exeunt, all but the captain. Enter Hamlet, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and others. Ham. Good sir, whose powers are these? Captain, they are of Norway, sir. Ham. How purposed, sir, I pray you? Captain, against some part of Poland. Ham. Who commands them, sir? Captain, the nephew to old Norway, Fortinbras. Ham. Goes it against the main of Poland, sir, or for some frontier? Captain, truly to speak, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats, 5, I would not farm it, nor will it yield to Norway or the Pole rental rate, should it be sold in fee. Ham. Why, then the Polack never will defend it. Captain, yes, it is already garrisoned. Ham. 2,000 souls and 20,000 ducats will not debate the question of this straw. This is th' impostum of much wealth and peace, that inward breaks and shows no cause without why the man dies. I humbly thank you, sir. Captain, God be wi' you, sir. Exit, Ross. Wilt please you go, my lord? Ham. I'll be with you straight. Go a little before. Exeunt, all but Hamlet, how all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unust. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on th' event, a thought which, courted, hath but 1 part wisdom, and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say this things to do, sith I have cause, and will, and strength, and means to do't. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit, with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and ensure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honour's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father kll'd, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep? While to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men that for a fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. Exit, Scene V. Elsinore. A room in the castle. Enter Horatio, Queen, and a gentleman. Queen. I will not speak with her. Gent. She is importunate, indeed distract. Her mood will needs be pitied. Queen. What would she have? Gent. She speaks much of her father, Says she hears there's tricks i'thworld, and hems, and beats her heart. Spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt, that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily. Whore. 'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. Queen. Let her come in, exit gentlemen, aside, to my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. So full of artless jealousy is guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt. Enter Ophelia distracted. Off. Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark? Queen. How now, Ophelia? Off sings, how should I your true love know from another one? By his cocklebat and staff and his sandal shoon. Queen. Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song? Off. Say you? Nay, pray you mark, sings, he is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone. Oh. Queen. Nay, but Ophelia off. Pray you mark, sings, white his shroud as the mountain's snow enter king. Queen. Alas, look here, my lord. Off, sings, larded all with sweet flowers, which bewept to the grave did not go with true love showers. King. How do you, pretty lady? Off. Well, God dialed you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. God be at your table. King. Concede upon her father. Off. Pray let's have no words of this, but when they ask you what it means, say you this, sings tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning bedtime, and I am made at your window, to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes and upped the chamber door, let in the maid, that outer maid never departed more. King. Pretty Ophelia. Off. Indeed, la, without an oath, I'll make an end on, sings, by Gis and by St. Charity, alack, and fie for shame. Young men will do't if they come to tea by cock, they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to Wednesday, he answers. So would I ha' done, by yonder sun, and thou hadst not come to my bed, king. How long hath she been thus? Off. I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but weep to think they would lay him i'th cold ground. My brother shall know of it, and so I thank you for your good counsel. Come, my coach. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night, good night. Exit king. Follow her close, give her good watch, I pray you, exit Horatio. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief, it springs all from her father's death. Oh Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First, her father slain, next, your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people muttered, thick, and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers for good Polonius' death. And we have done but greenly in hugger-mugger to inter him, poor Ophelia divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts, last, and as such containing as all these. Her brother is in secret come from France, and wants not buzzers to infect his ear feeds on his wonder, keep himself in clouds with pestilent speeches of his father's death, wherein necessity of matter beggared. Will nothing stick a person to arraign in ear and ear? Oh my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering peace, in many places give me superfluous death. A noise within. Queen. Alack, what noise is this? King. Where are my Switzers? Let them guard the door. Enter a messenger. What is the matter? Mess. Save yourself, my lord. The ocean, overpairing of his list, eats not the flats with more impetuous haste than young lads, in a riotous head, obers your officers. The rabble call him lord, and, as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word, they cry, choose we. Let's shall be king. Caps, hands, and tongues applaud it to the clouds. Let's shall be king. Let's king, a noise within. Queen. How cheerfully on the false trail they cry. Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs. King. The doors are broke. Enter let's with others. La. Where is this king? Sirs, stayed you all without. All. No, let's come in. La. I pray you give me leave. All. We will. La. I thank you. Keep the door. Exeunt his followers. O thou vile king, give me my father. Queen. Calmly, good lads. Laugh. That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot even here between the chaste unsmirched brows of my true mother. King. What is the cause, let's, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear a person. There's such divinity doth hedge a king that treason can but peep to what it would, acts little of his will. Tell me, let's, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man. Laugh. Where is my father? King. Dead. Queen. But not by him. King. Let him demand his fill. Laugh. How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows, to the blackest devil conscience and grace, to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the world I give to negligence, let come what comes. Only I'll be revenged most throughly for my father. King. Who shall stay you? Laugh. My will, not all the world. And for my means I'll husband them so well they shall go far with little. King. Good lads, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father's death, is't rid in your revenge that swoop-stake you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser. Laugh. None but his enemies. King. Will you know them then? Laugh. To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms and, like the kind life-rendering pelican, repast them with my blood. King. Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it, it shall as level to your judgment pierce as day does to your eye. A noise within. Let her come in, la. How now? What noise is that? Enter Ophelia. I'll heat, dry up my brains. Tears 7 times salt burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight till a scale turn the beam. O Rose of May. Dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. O heavens, is't possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis fine, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves. ACTV scene I Elsinore. A churchyard. Enter 2 clowns, with spades and pickaxes. Clown. Is she to be buried in Christian burial when she wilfully seeks her own salvation? Other. I tell thee she is, therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sate on her, and finds it Christian burial. Clown. How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defence? Other. Why, 'tis found so. Clown. It must be ser offendendo, it cannot be else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act, and an act hath 3 branches, it is to act, to do, and to perform. Argle, she drowned herself wittingly. Other. Nay, but hear you, Goodman Delver. Clown. Give me leave. Here lies the water, good. Here stands the man, good. If the man go to this water and drown himself, it is, will he nil he goes, mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argle, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life. Other. But is this law? Clown. Marry, is crowner's quest law. Other. Will you have the truth ant? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out o Christian burial. Clown. Why, there thou say straight. And the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than they're even christen. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession. Other. Was he a gentleman? Clown. He was the first that ever bore arms. Other. Why, he had none. Clown. What? Art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself other. Go to. Clown. What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter? Other. The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants. Clown. I like thy wit well, in good faith. The gallows does well. But how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now, thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Argle, the gallows may do well to thee. 2T again, come. Other. Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter? Clown. A. Tell me that, and unyoke. Other. Marry, now I can tell. Clown. 2t. Other. Mass, I cannot tell. Enter Hamlet and Horatio afar off. Clown. Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question next, say a grave maker, the houses he makes lasts till doomsday. Go, get thee to yawn, fetch me a stoop of liquor, exit second clown, clown digs and sings. In youth when I did love, methought it was very sweet, to contract the time for my behove, methought there I was nothing meet. Ham. Has this fellow no feeling of his business, that he sings at grave making? Whore. Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness. Ham. 'Tis e'en so. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense. Clown sings, but age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land, as if I had never been such. Throws up a skull. Ham. That skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once. How the knave jowls it to the ground, as if 'twere Cain's jawbone, that did the first murther. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now weariches, one that would circumvent God, might it not? Whore. It might, my lord. Ham. Or of a courtier, which could say good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, good lord? This might be my lord such a one. That praised my lord such a one's horse, when he meant to beg it, might it not? Whore. My lord. Ham. Why, e'en so. And now my lady worms, chapless, and knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to seat. Did these bones cost no more the breeding but to play at loggerts with them? Mine ache to think on't. Clown sings a pickaxe and a spade, for and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest is meet. Throws up another skull. Ham. There's another. Why may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddits now, his quillets, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave now to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? This fellow might be in time a great buyer of land, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines, and the recovery of his recoveries, to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will scarcely lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more. Whore. Not a jot more, my lord. Ham. Is not parchment made of sheepskins? Whore. My lord, and of calver skins too. Ham. They are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sirrah? Clown. Mine, sir, sings, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest is meet. Ham. I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in't. Clown. You lie out on't, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in't, yet it is mine. Ham. Thou dost lie in't, to be in't, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest. Clown. 'Tis a quick lie, sir, 'twill away again from me to you. Ham. What man dost thou dig it for? Clown. For no man, sir. Ham. What woman then? Clown. For none neither? Ham. Who is to be buried in't? Clown. One that was a woman, sir, but bless her soul, she's dead. Ham. How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, this 3 years I have taken note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier he galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker? Clown. Of all the days I fear, I came to tea that day that at last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras. Ham. How long is that since? Clown. Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born, he that is mad, and sent into England. Ham. Marry, why was be sent into England? Clown. Why, because it was mad. Shall recover his wits there. Or, if it do not, 'tis no great matter there. Ham. Why? Clown. 'Twill not he seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he. Ham. How came he mad? Clown. Very strangely, they say. Ham. How strangely? Clown. Faith, e'en with losing his wits. Ham. Upon what ground? Clown. Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy 30 years. Ham. How long will a man lie ere he rot? Clown. Faith, if it be not rotten before a die, as we have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, I will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year. Ham. Why he more than another? Clown. Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that it will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your whoreson dead body. Here's a skull. Now, this skull hath lain you 23 years. Ham. Whose was it? Clown. A whoreson, mad fellows it was. Whose do you think it was? Ham. Nay, I know not. Clown. A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. Poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester. Ham. This. Clown. E'en that? Ham. Let me see, takes the skull. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 tunes. And now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols? Your songs? Your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now, to mock your own grinning? Quite chap-foul? Now get you to my latest chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick, to this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. Whore. What's that, my lord? Ham. Dost thou think Alexander looked o' this fashion, I thirth? Whore. E'en so. Ham. And smelt so? Pa, puts down the skull. Whore. E'en so, my lord. Ham. To what base uses we may return, Horatio? Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole? Whore. 'Twere to consider too curiously, to consider so. Ham. No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough, and likelihood to lead it. As thus. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth, of earth we make loam, and why of that loam? Whereto he was converted, might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw. But soft, aside, here comes the king enter, priests with a coffin, in funeral procession, king, queen, let's, with lords attendant, the queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites? This doth betoken the course they follow did with desperate hand fordo it own life. Twice of some estate. Couch we a while, and Mark, retires with Horatio la. What ceremony else? Ham. That is let's, a very noble youth. Mark. La. What ceremony else? Priest. Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful, and, but that great command o'ersways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet. For charitable prayers, shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin crins, her maid instruments, and the bringing home of bell and burial. La. Must there no more be done? Priest. No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem and such rest to her as to peace parted souls. La. Lay her I thirth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling. Ham. What, the fair Ophelia? Queen. Sweets to the sweet. Farewell, scatters flowers. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave. La. Oh, treble woe fall 10 times treble on that cursed head whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Leaps in the grave. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead till of this flatter mountain you have made Erdop old Pelion, or the skyish head of blue Olympus. Ham, comes forward. What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? Whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars, and makes them stand like wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dane, leaps in after Let's. La. The devil take thy soul, grapples with him. Ham. Thou pray street not well. I prithee take thy fingers from my throat. For, though I am not splenitive and rash, yet have I in me something dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear. Hold off thy hand, King. Pluck thine asunder, Queen. Hamlet, Hamlet, all. Gentlemen. Whore. Good my lord, be quiet. The attendants part them, and they come out of the grave. Why, I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer wag. Queen. O my son, what theme? Ham. I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her? King. Oh, he is mad, let's. Queen. For love of God, forbear him. Ham. Swounds, show me what thou'lt do. Woot weep? Woot fight? Woot fast? Woot tear thyself? Woot drink up a sill? Eat a crocodile? I'll do't. Dost thou come here to whine? To outface me with leaping in her grave? Be buried quick with her, and so will I, and if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till a ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make ossa like a wart. Nay, and thou'lt mouth, I'll rant as well as thou. Queen. This is mere madness, and thus a while the fit will work on him. Anon, as patient as the female dove when that her golden couplets are disclossed, his silence will sit drooping. Ham. He, sir, what is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever. But it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may, the cat will mew, and dog will have his day. Exit, King. I pray thee, good Horatio, wait upon him. Exit Horatio, to let's strengthen your patience in a last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push, good Gertrude, set some watch over your son, this grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see, till then in patience a proceeding be. Exeunt. Scene 2. Elsinore. A hall in the castle. Enter Hamlet and Horatio. Ham. So much for this, sir, now shall you see the other. You do remember all the circumstance? Whore. Remember it, my lord. Ham. Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the mutinies in the bilboes. Rashly and praised be rashness for it. Let us know, our indiscretion sometimes serves us well when a deep plots do pall, and that should learn us there's a divinity that shapes our ends. Rough hew them how we will whore. That is most certain. Ham. Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me, in the dark groped I to find out them. Had my desire, fingered their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold, my fears forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commission, where I found, Horatio, O royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reasons, importing Denmark's health, and England's too, with, such bugs and goblins in my life, that, on the supervise, no leisure bated, no, not to stay the finding of the axe, my head should be struck off. Whore. Is't possible? Ham. Here's the commission, read it at more leisure. But wilt thou bear me how I did proceed? Whore. I beseech you. Ham. Being thus benneted round with villainies, or I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as a statists do, a baseness to write fair, and laboured much how to forget that learning. But, sir, now it did me yeoman's service. Wilt thou know th' effect of what I wrote? Whore. Good my lord. Ham. An earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm might flourish, as peace should still her wheaten garland wear and stand a between their amities, and many such. Like as is of great charge, that, on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed. Whore. How was this sealed? Ham. Why, even in that was heaven ordinate. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal, folded the writ up in the form of thother, subscribed it, gave th' impression, placked it safely, the changeling never known. Now, the next day was a sea fight, and what to this was sequent down no street already. Whore. So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to tea. Ham. Why, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell incensed points of mighty opposites. Whore. Why, what a king is this? Ham. Does it not, thinks thee, stand me now upon he that hath killed my king, and whored my mother, popped in between th'election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage. Is not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm? And is not to be damned to let this canker of a nature come in further evil? Haw. It must be shortly known to him from England, what is the issue of the business there. Ham.